Culture wars. Well, another politician belted for telling the truth is Katherine Deves, the Liberal standing in Warringah, who has said it's not fair for female athletes to have to compete against trans athletes who are born male. She's been called transphobic for that. But I'm not sure this is actually a huge issue for voters in this election. Perhaps because, I don't know, maybe we don't see many examples here that raise concerns, or maybe Liberals are running away from supporting her. I don't know. But in the US, it's a different story. I'll give you the latest example. Prisoner, born male, calling himself a woman, was accused of raping a female prisoner in the women's section of Rikers Jail and has been sentenced, well, has been sentenced to 7 years. The offender pleaded guilty to attempted rape in what seems a plea deal. Joining me is Rowan Dean, editor of The Spectator Australia and host of Outsiders on Sky News every Sunday at 9 a.m. Rowan, I don't think this issue is big in this election. I don't think it's biting, but I'm not sure you agree.
I don't agree, Andrew. I think it's a huge issue, and you fell straight into the trap, as everyone does. She, whatever. Everyday Australians, mainstream Australians, loathe this political correctness, loathe this kind of attempt to pretend that 2 + 2 = 5 and that men are women and boys are girls and all the rest. They absolutely loathe it. And if you ask any of them about it, they will arc up immediately and say that this rubbish has to stop. They've seen it all around the world. They don't want it here in Australia. We've had some of our finest sportswomen come out and say this stuff is garbage. We do not want this going on in our sports. The problem you've alluded to, Andrew, is the fact that both the major political parties want to suppress this issue, and therefore they refused to discuss it. Now, in Katherine Deves, the Liberals actually have someone who could win the election for them tomorrow, like that. If they let Katherine Deves out to speak passionately as she does about this issue, which she is incredibly knowledgeable on. Controversial, sure, but it's a controversial issue. She's well informed. She's a great spokesperson. She understands the issues from all sides. She is certainly not transphobic. The reason Labor don't want the issue discussed is obviously it goes against everything they stand for, and they know they get trounced in any discussion. Even Anthony Albanese had to quickly say, oh, yes, of course, men can't get pregnant or have babies or whatever rubbish it is. But the Liberals, and shame on the Liberals, and how stupid are the Liberals? They could use this issue tomorrow to completely annihilate Labor, but why don't they? The reason they don't, there's 2 or 3 electorates. There's Wentworth in Sydney, there's North Sydney, Trent Zimmerman, so you've got Dave Sharma, Trent Zimmerman, Tim Wilson down in Melbourne. There are a couple of electorates where there are very, very heavy LGBTIQ communities. And by the way, many gay people, many gay people, lesbians and gays are absolutely opposed to this militant trans agenda. That's a different story. But within these particular electorates, they're terrified to mention it. So Scott Morrison and his group of quislings who are his advisors have buckled down. They've silenced Katherine Deves. They've let her have, one little interview on SBS when the mainstream media out there begging to hear her point of views. They clamped down on her, so she's been silenced by the Liberal Party. Labor don't want to touch it with a barge pole. Hey, presto, as we see all the time, the media manages to disappear an issue which average Australians are passionate about, Andrew.
Oh, I don't doubt that the issue, if you ask most people, I know what they'd respond, but I think perhaps it hasn't been a salient issue for them. They don't feel like it's personally touching them at the moment. They don't see the athletes playing against their child, for instance. But here, in what you've just said, I think you're absolutely right. That, what I don't get about the Prime Minister response here in not fighting on this issue, there was a little tentative bit at the beginning, but now is running away from it. If the Prime Minister didn't want to fight this issue, why on earth was he one of the 3 people who picked Katherine Deves as their candidate? I mean, it wasn't surprising that these were reviews.
Great question, Andrew. Probably because he heard her talk, and she's an outstanding spokeswoman. She's, as I said, passionate and articulate and well-informed about the issue. So he would have been the same as anybody else who has heard Katherine Deves speak and gone, wow, this person is really interesting and really impressive. She's one of the best performers the Liberals have. To not use her and to silence her and to smother her, let me tell you what a mistake you guys are making.
It's weird. It's like picking a champion AFL footballer as your candidate and saying, by the way, never mention football. You know, it's so weird. I don't get it.
It is.